told you that reading is not natural, not for dyslexic children, not for you, not for anyone. Reading is actually a brain hack. And here's the contradiction. We send children to school, we hand them books. We expect their brains to magically understand symbols that were never really designed to be understood. So, when a child struggles to read, we say they're lazy, they're not trying, or that they're distracted. But what if they're actually trying harder than anyone else? Today, I'd like to share 3 tips of how I help dyslexic child learn to read. Not by forcing them, but by finally making reading make sense. Let's start the first method. Phonics and sight words must go hand in hand. Now, phonics is not just teaching sounds. It's teaching the brain that these particular symbols represent the sound. And many of the times when we are teaching phonics, we teach them those shapes. But for a dyslexic child, these abstract shapes are very confusing. So here's the solution. Change these symbols into stories. For example, instead of saying that this is B, we say a B is a boy with a big tummy and a D is a duck with a big butt. Now suddenly it's no longer just a symbol. It's a picture, a story, memory. So why does this work? Now, the brain remembers images better than symbols. Now when we do this, we are no longer forcing reading. We are building meaning first. Now here's the truth that a lot of people ignore. Not all the words follow phonics rules. You can find words like the, do. Now these are called irregular words. If a child tries to sound out the word the, T-H-E, they'll surely fail. So the solution to this is that we have to expose it to them and we have to repeat. Let them see the word often, hear it in a conversation, use it in context, because here's a powerful principle. Language comes first before reading. A child must understand a word before they can recognize it on the paper. So if they don't read or they don't understand the English language, when they read it on paper, it doesn't make sense to them. Now, I had a student who couldn't read the word the. No matter how many times we drew phonics, he struggled. And then, so I stopped. Instead, we just talk. The cat is here. The ball is there. And the boy is running. After many times of hearing it, one day he pointed at the word and said, that is the. There was no pressure, just exposure. So, quick recap of what method 1 is that we want to try to make the symbols meaningful and we want to build language before reading. That being said, reading is not just cognitive, it's emotional. And this brings us to our second method. Build confidence through games. Let me say something controversial here. Children don't hate learning. They hate the pressure. They hate the confusion. The feeling like they're failing. So turn learning into a game. Think about games. Games have rules. They have structure. They have clear goals. They have a reward. Now, you compare that to school. Sometimes unclear instructions and a lot of times constant correction. Now, the solution to this is actually just turn reading into a game. So instead of just telling the child to read this page, now we change this whole process. We tell them, hey, let's see how many words we can unlock. Or we can try saying, can you beat your score from yesterday? By changing reading into a game, this activates the brain's dopamine system. And dopamine is responsible for motivation, reward, focus. So it's not just for ADHD kids, but dyslexic children also struggle with sustaining attention. But games naturally increases engagement. So when a child feels that I can do this, everything then changes for them. Confidence is not a bonus, it is the foundation of learning. The third method that I find useful is conversational breaks. Here's something many people miss. Dyslexic children are often great communicators. They understand ideas, they like to express their thoughts. It's just that when they come to reading, their brain shut down. But they are people who enjoy conversations. The power of conversational breaks helps them a lot. Instead of pushing harder, we pause and we talk to them. So, here's an example. Let's say if you're teaching the word run, instead of drilling run, you ask them, what do you like to run for? Do you like to run for a ball? Do you like to run while you're playing tag? Chase your friends? Now, suddenly the word run is not just run. It's not just the letters. It's experience. So let's bring everything together to help a dyslexic child to learn how to read. The first tip is to use phonics and sight words. And while we are introducing phonics, turn those symbols into stories. And remember, we want to build language through exposure. Number 2, it's about building their confidence. Build their confidence through games. Give them a game structure and give them rewards. And the last point is conversational break. Instead of just reading over and over again, we can try to put a pause on reading and build communication about what we have just read. Talk about topics about what we've just read. What most dyslexic child face in their biggest struggle is not that I can't read this word or I can't read that word, but those emotional stress that every time when they fail to read, someone tells them that, hey, you're not trying harder, you're being lazy, why can't you just stay focused? Those comments to them doesn't help, and those are painful for them. Sometimes we judge a child before we understand their story. So if you are a teacher or a parent or someone working with children, please remember this. Understanding comes before progress. Because when things make sense, they become interesting. And when they become interesting, children don't just learn, they come alive. So the next time when a child struggles to read, don't ask what's wrong with them, but ask, what haven't I understood yet? Because sometimes the difference between failure and success is simply being seen.